Hi friends! This week we're going to be talking in our religion book about how we care about others as Jesus did. So I'm going to ask you to open up your religion book to chapter 25, and you should see down at the bottom it is page 217. So I'm going to push it right up there so you can see page 217. Okay, so I'm going to pause for a second while you go ahead and find that page, and if you need to pause the video for a second, if you need to pause me, go ahead and do that, but go ahead and find that page for me, okay? Okay, in this chapter, we're going to talk about how we care about others as Jesus did, okay? And what I want you to do is I want you to listen to this little story. I'm going to read it to you. And while I'm reading it, I just want you to be looking at that page where you see the pinwheel with the different colors, the blue, the red, the green, and the yellow. And as I'm listening to as I'm reading to the story, I want you to think about how, and I know we have some friends in our class that are in Daisies, I want you to think about how the Daisy Scouts in this story are caring about others, okay? So go ahead and listen to the story. Ladia looked in the mirror. She loved wearing the blue tunic with the pretty flower on it. So I know a couple of us are Daisies in our class. It meant that she was a Daisy Girl Scout and she was going to her meeting. Mrs. Carroll, her leader, told her, the Scouts, that they had something very important to do today. We're going to the cafeteria in the parish center to decorate it, Mrs. Carroll was explaining as Latia walked in. This week, the parish will have a special dinner for the poor people in our area. The parishioners, that means the people who belong to the church, asked us to make colorful decorations for the bulletin boards. Why won't the people go to their own homes? Latia wanted to know. Mrs. Carroll explained, the people are new in the area and don't have any homes. They are saving money so they can rent apartments. The parents work during the day, and at night they gather their children from daycare. They eat dinner and share some time before they go to the special place where they sleep. Ruth Ann raised her hand. Can we bring some of our picture books for the children to look at after the dinner? She asked. If your parents say that it's okay, it would be a great idea. You can drop them off any day after school, Mrs. Carroll suggested, as all the girls nodded in agreement. But right now, let's get busy bringing our art supplies over to the cafeteria. Pretty soon, the Daisies were busy decorating. They worked hard to make the cafeteria look like a happy, cheerful place. Okay, in this story, the Daisy Scouts, how did they show that they were caring for others? How did they show that they were caring for others? Okay, very good. If you said that they were going to make colorful decorations for the people for the dinner, then I would agree with you. And I think that that was very nice. So the parishioners were holding a dinner for the people that were homeless in the area, or for the poor people, and they wanted to make it a pleasant place for them when they came for dinner, because they've worked hard all day and then they go and gather their children at daycare, and then this way they're able to share a special meal. And I know right now, while things are very different in all of our homes, one of the things that I've really enjoyed getting to do every night is have a family dinner with Patrick and Cormac and Mr. Rooney. That's something that doesn't typically happen in our house because Patrick is off at one event, Cormac is off at another event, I have something, Mr. Rooney has something. So we very rarely get to eat a family dinner together during the school week. And right now, that's one of the things that we have said is definitely a blessing that we've gotten to do lately. So when I read this story, I thought, wow, that's really important for these families. No matter what their day's like, it's a very special time for them to get to gather their families together and have a dinner at night, each night. So I thought that that was a lovely idea that the parishioners were doing for them in the story. And I thought it was really nice for the Daisy Scouts to be able to help hang pictures and make colorful pictures and things like that to make the dinner even that much more special. What I really liked was how Ruth Ann raised her hand and asked if she was able to do something. Do you remember what she's asked if she was able to do? Yep, she asked if she would be able to bring some picture books along to read to the children. And what I liked about that was her own idea. The parishioners had asked for the pictures and things like that to be decorated around the parish hall for the dinner. But I really liked that Ruth Ann thought a little bit more about it, about how she could show that she cared in her own way. And what she decided was to ask if she could bring some picture books along to share with the children after they finished their dinner. And I really liked that. I thought that that was a really nice idea. So this week in our chapter, what we're going to be talking about is how we care about others as Jesus did. Jesus said, "As I have done for you, you should do for others." Meaning he's loved us so much that he wants us to go out and love others as well. So let's look at this page 217. Let's look at this pinwheel, okay? Let's look at the pinwheel. And let's look at the different, a pinwheel is one of those ones where you blow on it and it spins around. So let's take a look at it. And let's look at how each person is doing to help someone, okay? Let's look at the blue. What is the mother doing there to help the little boy? Very good. She's reading him a story, maybe to help him go to sleep better, maybe to help him practice his reading. In any way, she's spending time with him and helping him that way. How about in the red part of the pinwheel? How is that person helping? Very good. She's feeding a baby. Babies don't know how to feed themselves yet. They have to be taught. I tease Patrick and Cormac all the time. I taught them how to use a spoon. So whenever they tease me about having to teach or help me with something on the computer, I remind them, I taught them how to use a spoon so they know how to eat because of me. So that's definitely a way to help. Very good. How about in the yellow? How about in the yellow? How is she helping there? Very good. Tying a shoe, right? Mrs. Rooney and Miss McNichol, we tie a lot of shoes in our classroom, don't we? That's a great way to help someone. Okay, very good. Why is that important? Exactly, so the person doesn't trip over their shoelace and get hurt. Exactly. What's the last picture in the green? How are they taking care, or how are they helping? Very good. They're taking the dog for a walk. Dog really can't go for a walk on its own, and dogs and pets need exercise. So they're taking care of God's pets, right? Exactly. Very good. All right. So this week we're talking about how we care about others as Jesus did. He asks us to use him as an example, and he cared about everyone. So he asks us to care about everyone as well. All right, now what I want you to do is go ahead and turn one page, and I want you to be looking at this page right here, okay? Do you see Jesus right there? Okay, we're going to be talking about that page. Okay? For a minute, I want you to just take a look at the pictures on this page and look at the different people that are on this page and imagine maybe why they're, or what is their story, or what are they doing, or maybe how might Jesus be helping them. So just take a moment and look at those. I see three groups of people there. One, Jesus is right next to the person, then I see a family, and then I see a man in the back with the green. So just take a second and look at those pictures. Okay, let's take a look and see if we can find the people that Jesus helped on his path. If you look, he has a path there. And let's look at the path, and let's look at the people that maybe Jesus helped along the way. Let's look at the man. Let's read as I listen, or listen as I read. Jesus cared about everyone. Jesus fed people who were hungry. He helped people who were poor or sick. And he made those who were sad or lonely feel better. Jesus showed us how to care for everyone. Okay? Let's look at the man that's standing right next to Jesus, or sitting right next to Jesus. Let's look at him. It says up here, Jesus made those who were sad or lonely feel better. Look at that man right there. Do you think Jesus might be making him feel better? I do. I agree with you. Let's go ahead and circle him, because I think he's definitely someone that Jesus probably helped. Okay? let's go along the path now. Let's take a look at this family here, okay? Jesus fed people who were hungry. Do you think maybe they could be a family that was hungry? Absolutely. And if they were, would Jesus have helped them? Absolutely. So let's go ahead and circle that family, okay? And let's look at the man back here in the green. The man back here in the green, okay? Jesus helped people who were poor or sick. I see him holding like a wooden crutch in his hand, as if maybe he had been hurt before. Is that someone that Jesus would have helped as well? Absolutely, because Jesus fed the people that were hungry, he helped people who were poor or sick, and he made those who were sad or lonely feel better. So Jesus showed us how to care for everyone. So if I look at all those different people on the page, I would have them all circled because they are certainly all the people that Jesus would have helped, okay? And then what you can also do now as well is when we're all done, you can go ahead and color in the path, whatever color you want. Choose one color and color in that path, okay? All right, so we know, who did Jesus care about? Jesus cared about everyone. It did not matter whether they were hungry, poor, or sick, sad, or lonely. He worried and cared about everyone. Now, what I'd like you to do is I would like you to think about, so Jesus cared for those who were hungry. How can you care for those who are hungry? Okay, if you looked back at that pinwheel, the mom on the red part was feeding. So if you have a little baby brother or sister, you might be able to feed them when they're hungry. When we did the food drives at school, when we did the cans for the Super Bowl, when you bring in food, we can help feed the poor by bringing in food during food drives, during the Super Bowl can drive. When you have friends that come and visit, you can feed them. You can have a nice dinner. So those are different ways that you're able to feed people who are hungry. What about helping people who are poor or sick? Okay. Very good. When we were bringing in toothpaste and socks and different types of clothing and things like that, when they're collecting clothes for people, or when we had the coat drive at school this winter. Those are a way of helping people who are poor or sick. When we make cards for friends or relatives that might not be feeling well, if we call people who we're not able to visit right now. So right now, a lot of you probably have some relatives that you're not allowed to visit. I know Patrick and Cormac were not able to visit his grandparents right now. So we make a point of calling them to see how they're doing and to talk to them. So it's really important right now because this is definitely one that we can certainly use Jesus as an example for how we should be living right now by making sure that we're reaching out to the people that we're not able to see all the time. So take a moment and call a relative or a grandparent that you haven't been able to see and just see how they're doing. All right, so last one, maybe helping those who are sad or lonely. Well, again, it's the same thing. I know Patrick and Cormac's grandparents miss them terribly right now. So calling them, telling them a joke, telling them about their day, something that they're working on. So those are all ways that you're able to help someone who might be sad or lonely right now. And sometimes even out at recess, we've talked about how we never leave a friend alone. If we see someone alone, we always ask them, do you want to join us? Because the last thing anybody wants to do is to feel sad or lonely, okay? All right, my friends, you did a great job on religion today, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.